أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The topic that we are discussing is who is a Shia, and the reason that we thought that there was a need for us to discuss this is that there are many different definitions out there which makes it confusing to understand what is the mazhab, what is the way, what is the path, what is the true path of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And our youths are also bombarded with the news and the different media outlets who define what Shias are. Also ourselves as well, if we were to ask each other and ask that what is a Shia, everybody would have a different definition of what they think that Shia means. So there was a need for us to be able to go through some of the objections and also the different definitions that are given, so that our youths and ourselves and myself, we can understand what the definition means, we can understand what the way is, so that we can tread on that path and be able to reach the destination where this path leads us. Yesterday we discussed that Shia is classified as a sect. Sect, when you say, it's like there's two major sects of Islam, there is Sunnis and there is the Shias. In Christianity as well, there are many different, like Presbyterians, Protestants, Catholics, and we had a whole list from our brother yesterday which I didn't memorize, but I'll try my very best to know more. Then when you look at any other religion as well, if you look at Sikhism, if you look at Hinduism, if you look at Judaism, you get different sects of people that are claiming to be part of the same religion. Meaning Shia and Sunni, both they claim that we are Muslims. But if it is a religion that you are Muslims, and in Islam what it means is to submit, and then you are submitting to the will of Allah, and that there is only one Allah, there is only one God, then what is the reason that we have to be called Shia and Sunni? Someone who submits to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in definition is called a Muslim. So is it that we have a different Islam and they have a different Islam? We have a different God, they have a different God. We have a different book, they have a different book. We have different laws, they have different laws. And is it like this? Or is it that we have consensus on, let's say hypothetically speaking, 95% or 96% of Usul-e-Din, Furu-e-Din and Akhlaq? Meaning ideology or theology, whatever you want to call Usul in English, Furu-e-Din meaning the jurisprudence or the laws of Islam, and Akhlaq meaning the study of the human soul. So if 95 or 96 or 97% of the things are the same among the two sects, then is the 3% or 4% or 5% enough of a reason for us to be divided into two separate groups? Or that the 95% or 97% that we have in common, that we focus on that, and by focusing on that we say that we are all Muslims? That is also a scenario or possibility. So if we were to do that, then there would be no discussion of Shia and Sunni. The only discussion that would remain is what is a Muslim. Or in the media you find that, Shias are enemies of Sunnis and Sunnis are enemies of Shia, and that Sunnis are killing Shias and the Shias are killing Sunnis. And our kids are given this idea that we are separate and we are enemies of each other, and by some manner or thought process, the people who do make the speeches and who are speakers, they tend to focus on that 4 or 3% difference and then try to put hatred inside of the heart for the other Muslim brothers and sisters. Or they will try to do such acts or speeches that when the other person hears, would become angry and upset and would say that this person is defaming the personalities that we hold dear to our heart. And because they're defaming the personalities that we hold dear to our hearts, these individuals are wrong and they're our enemies, and they get to the point where they will call a person kafir. Kafir meaning someone who doesn't believe in Allah, someone who does not believe in prophethood, someone who does not believe on the Day of Judgment, someone who does not believe on the justice of Allah, someone who does not praise, someone who does not fast, does not go for Hajj. And then these speakers, they will say that, oh, you are prohibited, it is haram for you to go to a speech or a majlis where Shias are. And then some of these speakers on the other side also create such division that the Shias will not go to the mosques of a Sunni. So it is very important that we resolve these sort of issues, because of the Imam of the time that we are waiting for. In his government there will be no Shia or Sunni. The justice and peace that we're looking for, that will come in the whole of the world, there will be no sects left. There will be no one called a Shia and no one would be called a Sunni. Everybody would be a Muslim. Now whether they happen to be from India, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, America, Canada, wherever they happen to be, they will all be a Muslim. Which also indicates to the fact that brothers who are so far back, if you come forward, I will not say anything to you specifically. If you read aloud salawat and come forward. You can recite another salawat and all my little brothers can come forward. So this also indicates to the fact that when the 12th Imam comes, maybe the reason why we will have justice and peace in the world, and that we will have no sectarian violence and defaming each other and killing each other and blowing up ourselves in the mosques where people are praying namaz-e-Jumu'ah, or in the juluses where people are mourning the death and the martyrdom of the grandson of a prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. That if you love the Prophet, then eventually that love will seep into his family. If you love the Prophet, eventually you're going to love the Prophet's family. So it doesn't matter whether the person is Shia or Sunni, if your love for the Prophet is there, you're going to also love the grandson of the Prophet. If you love the grandson of the Prophet and you love the Prophet's family, then if you find out that he was brutally martyred in the battlefield of Karbala, you will also be sad. And tears should flow from your eyes as well, and you should also participate in the julus, in the procession, to let humanity know of what happened in Karbala. And that way the procession will not be just specifically for Shias, but it will be for Muslims. And in that procession the whole city will participate. You know, if you try to imagine a whole city participating, like for example in Iran we have Salatul Jumu'ah, the Friday prayers, in one location, in one place. And I remember it was my Ramadan time when I got to Iran, and when I went first time, there was maybe a crowd of 50,000 people. And I'm just giving you as an approximation who were present inside of the musalla, inside of that place where the Salatul Jumu'ah happens. But outside of this musalla there were rows that went for kilometers. And for the first time in my life, when I stood for salah, when everybody was saying Tasbihat Arba, and there was a hum, there was a specific sound which came out of 50,000 people. That sound was, just that sound got me so close to Allah that I never had felt like that praying anywhere. And it is an experience. If you get a chance, you should go and try to experience that. So what it indicates on is that when Imam will come and this world will be filled with justice and peace, that these sects will not exist. If they exist, that means that there is no justice or peace. With me? If justice and peace cannot be brought in the world, if it is brought in the world and these boundaries are finished, that means that these boundaries have become a reason for justice and peace not to be there. And if we are holding on to these boundaries, that indicates that we ourselves are not really for the government of Islam to be on the whole of the world. That in our thinking we are only looking for the government of Islam, the justice and peace, to be brought in Iraq, in Iran, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan and India and so forth. But when we start developing this thought process, which there are no boundaries, we are getting into the process of getting ready for the coming of the 12th Imam. We always, speakers talk about this fact that, we should get organized, we should be ready for the 12th Imam. We should do certain actions so that the 12th Imam can come as soon as possible. What are those actions? Those actions are that we should pray Salah. Well, people have been praying Salah for the last 1400 years. Okay, let's go back 1200 years. In the last 1200 years, were there not people praying Salah? There were. Were there not people that did fasting? They did. Hajj? They did. What was that one thing that we have been lacking in for the last 1200 years? In your Furu'e Deen? Does anybody know? In your Furu'e Deen, there is fasting, then? Yes. The thing which has been missing for the last 1200 years, I would say the thing which has been missing for the last 1400 years is Amr bil Maroof wa Nahy Anil Munkar. And Amr bil Maroof wa Nahy Anil Munkar is the head of the body of Islam. If the head is not there, what is the body good for? Can the body bring justice and peace in the world? The example is, let's say you're looking at me, I have a head on my shoulders, and I'm able to speak to you because I'm alive. And if I can, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, I could give something to you which you can take and maybe try to bring justice and peace inside of your homes, inside of your heart, inside of your community, inside of your country. But if I'm not there, if my head is not there, can I speak? Can I do anything? Can I help out in bringing justice and peace? I can't. And reality, at the time that Imam Hussain ﷺ was there, the one thing that had stopped, people were still praying, people were still going for Hajj fasting. The one thing that had stopped, that was Amr bil Maroof wa Nahy Anil Munkar. People have stopped doing that. And Imam says that Allah SWT knew this, and that is the reason why He made it an obligation on every Muslim man and woman to do Amr bil Maroof and Munkar, that if it is done, all of His other obligations, whether those obligations are easy or difficult, they will be done. But if Amr bil Maroof and Munkar is not done, the obligations, whether they are easy or hard, they will not be completed. An example of an easy obligation that you can do, the easiest one, for our brothers, it is, what is the easiest obligation that you can do? Actually, to do it, it is more difficult not to do it. The easiest thing that you can do is let this grow. And you're not doing anything. Are you doing anything? You're not doing anything. You're just letting it grow. If you don't want this to grow, then you have to go get Mark 4 or 7 or 8. I don't know how many they have. Don't really use those. As you can tell, I don't use it. I mean, I don't know. It's $24, $15. I don't know how much they charge. You know, and then you have to buy some soap, shaving cream, this and that. And then you have to, worry about the cuts and so forth. And then you have to go to another section where you buy Nivea cream for men. These creams were specifically for women before, but now they're also for men. So you have to buy that, then you have to put it on your face, and then, feel a lot manly after that, I'm sure. It's hard. The easiest is, you just let it grow. But why is it that people don't do that? It's because Amr bil Maroof and Munkar is finished in society. Amr bil Maroof and Munkar does not happen in communities. Amr bil Maroof and Munkar basically means to tell others to do good and refrain them from doing bad. So everybody understands the meaning of Amr bil Maroof and Munkar? Okay. It's not being done between brothers. It's not being done between families. And because it is not being done on different levels, the easiest of Allah SWT obligation is not being performed and is considered hard. Not to do it is not considered hard. To go outside, buy the razor, spend $25, $30 and then continuously basis spending that money, it's not considered hard. But letting it grow is considered hard. For our sisters, what's the easiest thing they can do? The easiest thing for our sisters is they take a cloth which is about this big. They can buy it at any Walmart, any superstore. I don't know what you guys have here. Clothes are available, just buy that. Spend $10, $15 or maybe less, or go to a dollar store, I'm sure they have scarves, and buy it and put it on their head. They're protected from the sun, the skin is very nice and clear, and they become a statue of iffat, of piety, of forbearance, of honor. They become a flag of Islam. They become an alam, a sign of Islam. So easy. Yet, they like to go to the hairdresser and spend like $80, $90, $100, $150 of the hard-earned money of their husband. Spend 3 to 4 hours while the kids are being taken care of with the babysitters, and they have to pay them as well, and then go every week for coloring and this and this and this and this, and have a bill of $600, $700, $1,000, $1,200 a year. For what? So you can disobey Allah and think that other people find you very attractive. Your beauty is not in your hair. The beauty is not in your face. The beauty is inside of you. When I look at a sister who's wearing hijab and I look at a sister who's not wearing hijab, between these two, one is obeying Allah and trying to seek the pleasure of Allah, the other is trying to obey the society, the culture, the country that she lives in, and tries to acquire the pleasure of that country, religion or culture, whatever. Someone in submission of Allah is beautiful. Someone in the submission of shaitan is as ugly as shaitan. Someone in the submission of Allah is just as beautiful as it is the beauty of Allah. And someone in the submission of shaitan is just as ugly as shaitan. It's very simple. And it is the most easiest of the two obligations that can be performed by individuals without any problem. But why are they not being performed? Because Amr bil Maroof and Munkar does not exist. What would you consider to be the hardest obligation of Allah? Is it salah? The hardest thing about namaz is wudu. True or not? The hardest thing is wudu. If you have wudu, you're looking for the direction of Qibla and where to pray. The hardest thing is not salah, it's not the 2 minutes, it's not the 5 minutes, it's not the 10 minutes. It's actually to be able to do wudu. You wash your face at least once, I hope. Is that difficult? And I'm sure, I don't think there's any person here, let's say, I'm sure all of you pray salah and you have no problems. We're not talking about you. I don't know. But I'm doing husnizan. I'm thinking that all my brothers and sisters, everybody who's here, they are proper in their salah and they have no problem in regards to it. I'm talking about people who are not present here. Right? So the people who are not present here, these individuals, they wash their face at least once a day and they have no difficulty in washing it. But they have a difficult time to wash their face for the sake of Allah. While they wash their hands and they wash their face and they gargle, they don't get any reward. But if they do the same thing for the sake of Allah, they are blessed by the mercy of Allah. So who would not want to do this easy thing so that they can gain pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in the process also have this beautiful face which is washed how many times a day? Depending on how many times you pray your salah. So the hardest thing about salah is actually not namaz itself, it is wudu. So if any of my brothers and sisters who have this issue, which I don't think they do, but if they do have it, the best thing to do is what? To be able to make sure that all of your prayers are done is always stay with wudu. If you always stay with wudu, you will have no problem in doing your salah. But there will be one salah which will be the most difficult. And that would be Fajr prayers. And I'm not sure how many reports that goes to the 12th Imam in which he sees Maslan Hassan, Fajr prayer, Qaza, Zohar done, about 2 hours late, close to Asr time, did Zohar and Asr together around 4 o'clock, after that did Maghrib around 9, before sleeping around 11:30 did Isha, and do you think he's happy? Do you think the 12th Imam is happy just because I did rest of my prayers, but I did miss Fajr? Missing a prayer is Gunah-e-Kabira, is a greater sin. And if I commit that greater sin, I will be punished for sure on the Day of Judgment in the light of traditions and Quran. And there is no two ways about it. When I was coming over to States, to your beautiful country, the land of the free, justice, peace, liberty for all, flag bearers of democracy and equality, the country which stands against every oppression and terrorism around the world and defends the whole world, a country which is civilized in the utmost heights of civilizations that in humanity has never existed. My wife washed my passport. It was a Tuesday. I was in the garage. She comes with my passport, which had seen about 12 or 13 cycles of the washing machine. Comes in, Hassan, your passport got washed. I said, put it in the dryer. Let it dry. Let it go through the dryer. So we did. We put it in the dryer, got dried up, wrinkled up a bit. What can you do? But I had a passport. I had a ticket. I had my bag. Everything was there. But the most important thing for me to be able to come to this land of yours was that I required a passport. And if I did not have this passport, what would happen? I would not be allowed in. What do you think is the requirement to enter into heaven? The place which is of the most beautiful landscape, trees, rivers, oceans, fruits, vegetables, and every single thing that you can imagine ever, multiplied by infinity in beauty and taste. This massive place, this place where all of the individuals are good, best of the best, different levels of purity and heights. What do you require? Is a passport. And this passport is your, anybody knows? Yes. Namaz. Salawat pare Muhammad wa. If you do not have this passport, you will not be allowed in. Even if this passport has been washed in sins and not having concentration and having to be able to bear the weight of responsibility of praying to Allah, if you do not have it, you will not be admitted. And the first thing that the immigration officer would ask is your passport, right? First thing they ask is your passport. They don't ask where you're going, how long you're staying, whether you are on that list and you have to be sent to the secondary inspection, and then we will delay you another hour and a half, and then another person will ask you the same questions, expecting maybe different answers, and then, when there's 5-10 minutes left, we will say, thank you very much, please go ahead and take your flight. The first thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's your creator, who has created this heaven, is going to be asking you is your salah. The rest about fasting, about hajj, about everything else would be later. If you don't have this passport, you'll be in trouble. So salah, namaz. Do you think fasting is difficult? Fasting is not difficult. Is it difficult? What if I was to tell you that if you were to fast for 30 days, you will become younger, your your skin would look nicer, your health would increase, your heartbeat would be proper, your blood pressure would be proper, you will have, even like other disease like cold and this and that, that will not happen. What if I was to tell you that? There would be a big lineup of people who are not even Muslims. You know these people who go to health stores and they buy all of these organic things and so forth, and they're always looking for a magic answer for their health to be okay? A magic pill that they can take and their obesity of 400 pounds can go into 150, so that they can again eat Burger King over and over again and have Dunkin' Donuts over and over again, and then all of the lard that they end up having on the fries that are being fried, so that they can have this magic pill. They're not looking for so that they can live longer, but they're looking for this magic pill so they can do this all over again. The only reason why it stops them is because they can't fit on the seats that planes have made nowadays. And they have a problem walking through doors, and they have an issue, going from one place to the other. It's not for their health, longevity. It's only so that they can do this again and again and again and again. People who are worried about their health, they're not worried about their soul. What if I was to say that if you were to fast, diseases like jealousy, diseases like backbiting, diseases like anger, diseases like ujub, to think that you are the best of the best and everything that you emanates from you is the light of the world and all world exists because of you? What if I was to tell you that all of these diseases of your souls can be cured if you were to fast? Would you be interested? You would be interested if you realize that you are sick. If you do not realize that you are sick, you would say that, I'm okay. Why should I go through the process of fasting? The diseases of the soul is a lot more harmful to you than cancer. Let's say I have a choice. Would you like to get cancer? If I have a menu. Would you like to have cancer? Or would you like to have jealousy? I have a choice. Would you like to have cancer? Or, okay, maybe cancer is not scaring you because so many people have cancer. Okay, leprosy. Does leprosy scare you? Leprosy is where your skin deteriorates and it goes, your meat gets melted and your bones are shown. That a stench comes out of your body that people cannot bear. Even your mother would say, leave the room. Choice of leprosy or hasad. What would you choose? To have hasad or to have leprosy? What would you choose? To have jealousy or to have leprosy? Easy. Two choices, you have to make one. Not that by making this choice you're going to acquire it. You're being afraid as if you were to say leprosy, that leprosy would come to you. No, this is just an example. You have leprosy versus jealousy. What would you take? You see, that's the reason why we don't consider ourselves to be sick. My personal decision would be, I would take leprosy. It's okay. Look, if my skin is melting and my bones, it's getting to my bones and my meat is melting and I have a stench coming out, it's only temporary. I will live for another 30, 40 years and I would have to go from this world. And leprosy will just stay in my grave. And it will finish. As soon as I'm dead, leprosy, I'm not a leper anymore. But with jealousy, it doesn't end there. Even though I am dead, I am still a hasid, I'm still a jealous person. And then when I see the truth and the true shape of jealousy, it is fire. The true shape of jealousy is fire, and this fire is burning my salah. My salah, my passport is being burned. My fasting is being burned. My hajj is being burned. Hasad, jealousy, is fire that burns your faith. It burns everything that you have acquired as conviction. I would gladly take leprosy. I will not take jealousy. Salawat Bari Muhammad. Coming back, Shia is you were with me yesterday? Hassan, thank you very much. Salawat Bari Muhammad. Shia, it means a follower. And whomever this person is following, the title of that Imam comes later on. Would we? For example, can I be the Shia of Shaitan? I can. If I follow Shaitan where Shaitan is going, I am the Shia of Shaitan. Because Shia means follower, and if I am following Shaitan, I am the Shia of Shaitan. The condition is what? That you have to follow, and you have to have a person that you are following. If you are driving the car, someone stops you. Are you following someone? No. If you are not following someone, you cannot be called a Shia. The only way you will be called a Shia is if you are following someone. Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adama an la ta'budu shaitan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. O progeny of Adam, did I not ask you to not worship shaitan? Innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. He is your clear enemy. Are there any people who worship shaitan? They're not present here though, right? There's no one present here who worships shaitan, right? Maybe I'll tell you of those people who are not here, I'll tell you about those guys who worship shaitan. You know what they do? They come into the masjid, they see, I know this guy, and guess what? Because I know these guys and I want to be called a pious, a muttaqi, a parhezgar, Ayatullah Bahjat, because I want to be called that, I will start my prayers and I will recite my prayers in a way that these guys will be reminded of Ayatullah Bahjat. So he says, Allahu Akbar, and then starts crying. The way he's reciting Surah Al-Hamd is crying. In Ruku, it's like so much tears, cries, screams coming out. And these people, when he finishes the prayer, say, MashaAllah, what a person. We are so blessed. Can we do tabarruk? May Allah bless me by me touching you and you are MashaAllah. Guess what? This person just worshipped shaitan. He was not in prayers, he was not submitting, he was not worshipping Allah. But this person was worshipping shaitan. Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adama an la ta'budu shaitan. O Bani Adam, O progeny of Adam, did I not ask you not to worship shaitan? So it is possible for people to worship shaitan. When they worship shaitan is when they do something other than for the sake of Allah. Anything other than for the sake of Allah is the worship of shaitan. Either you are in the worship of shaitan or you're in the worship of Allah. فَنِعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Rawat par Muhammad. So just like that, there could be a person who's actually a Shia of shaitan. Is it possible for us to not to follow anyone? Now this is a question. I have like, I think 15 more minutes, 20 minutes. The question is it possible for any human being on the face of this earth, there are 6 billion people, not to follow anyone? Is it possible that there is a human being that does not follow anyone? In this whole earth, try to have Google Earth now in your minds, and you are putting the address of every single human being on the face of this earth, and this Google Earth scope is looking at each individual. Can this Google Earth find one individual who is not a follower? Cannot. Every single person on the face of this earth who has ever come from Hazrat Adam ﷺ till today is a follower. So when a person is a follower, that means that this person is a Shia. But because you're going to be by default a follower, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't follow everyone. Don't start following everyone and anyone, but decide who you're going to follow. You should decide who to follow. You cannot decide not to follow. With me? You can't decide not to follow. You have to decide who to follow, because you will follow someone. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Jinn and ins, men and jinn, we have created them for only one purpose, and that is for them to be slaves. Yani, there is no free man that is born. Are you a slave? With me? Are you a slave? Because in America, slave is not a good word. Because there were individuals who were brought here in chains on boats and had them do tasks that human beings are much below to do those tasks. And then if these individuals did not do those tasks, they were hung in public from trees and their bodies were burned, and they were treated lower than animals. Then alhamdulillah, they have made progress, because now they have someone in office who could not have been in office how many years ago? I would say 4 or 5, until Bush was removed. They have someone in office. Is this progress? Progress would have been if you abolished slavery. That would have been a progress. But Americans and Canadians and almost the whole world is a slave to a system which is called capitalism. Before, there were individuals who were put into chains and brought here to do the tasks that they could not imagine to do. Now they've created such of an environment that people like to take immigration and come here. And they come here and they say on the border, put these chains of mortgage. Mortgage, you know what? The kids don't know. But mortgage is actually the rope which is put when a person is being hung. Mortgage in Latin, if you want, you can ask Sheikh Google. You can ask Sheikh Google and they will let you know that mortgage is actually that rope and that knot that is made to put in the neck of the person to be hung. Before they were hanging individuals from trees. Now they are hanging everyone by mortgage. People are born slaves, but they are free in deciding whose slavery they should do. They are born in slavery, but they are free to decide whose slavery they are going to do. And if you take away that right, it is the biggest injustice that you've committed to humanity. I have a right to choose my master. This is my natural born right. I am a slave, but I have the right to choose my master. I can choose anyone. So do you? La ikraha fid-din. There is no compulsion in religion. You have to decide who your master is going to be. You have to decide who your Imam is going to be. You are going to follow. There is no one in this world who does not follow. You are going to follow, but you are free in deciding who to choose as your Imam. I choose Hussein. I choose him. Imam Hussain is my Imam. I will follow him. But in order for me to follow, I'm going to have to do Amr bil Maroof and Munkar. I cannot say I'm following Hussein, but in front of my eyes I can see that the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are broken. I cannot see that in front of me the oppressors are oppressing the individuals all around the world, making the whole world as slaves. I cannot bear the thought of knowing that for the last 60 years, it's my brothers and sisters who have lived in a jail, that people in Gaza are surrounded and occupied and being killed on daily basis and not given their natural born rights of medicine, food and shelter. I cannot bear it. If I can bear it, I need to change my Imam, because that Imam will not take me to that road. If I can bear it and I don't do anything about it, that is an indication that Imam Hussein is not my Imam. Then my Imam is of those people who drink and they gamble and they sit down in the laps of oppressors. And they're okay if they give $10 million for a beauty contest of a camel, or they give $60 billion for some ships and planes that they're not going to use. But the rest of the Muslim Ummah can suffer. Then my Imam is of whatever of theirs Imam is. But if my Imam is Hussein, can I be a coward? Being a coward and your Imam is Hussein is shame. Can I be afraid of anyone other than Allah? I cannot. If the circumstances come to the point that I have to leave my daughter so that I can submit to the will of Allah, can I stay and keep my daughter, or do I have to go and submit to the will of Allah? Bibi Sakina, Imam Hussain said, the house that Sakina is not in there is not worth living. I have love for my daughter, but my love for my daughter is tainted with impurities inside of my heart. So therefore the love that I give to my daughter is also tainted. And I cannot feel the intensity of the love of Imam Hussein that he had with Bibi Sakina, never. Because it's coming out of a heart which is pure. And this father who's loving his daughter is also a daughter who's pure, who has the blood of Bibi Fatima. I cannot imagine how Imam Hussein got off of Suljana and held Bibi Sakina in his arms. And he would cry so much that the enemy said that we never saw or heard Hussein cry so much. That the voice of his cries could be heard by the enemies who were waiting to massacre him. Imam Hussein picked up the bodies from Fajr till Asr. Did he cry so much on the body of Hazrat Ali Akbar? When he had to take the head of that spear out of his chest? Was that not unbearable, Ya Imam? When you had to leave Hazrat Abbas and come back with the stains of blood on your clothes of Hazrat Abbas, and Sakina was waiting there. Why cry so much? Imam Hussein knows this is the time I have to submit to the will of Allah. My daughter's love needs to be sacrificed, but somehow I need to tell her, somehow I need to comfort her, somehow I need to say a sentence in which Sakina would become someone who would give me permission. He comes down from Suljana, he holds Bibi Sakina in his arms, and he says, daughter, if I do not go, the religion of your grandfather will no longer exist. There will be no people who would say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. The religion of your grandfather will no longer be there. Now here's the test of a little girl who's 4 or 6 years old, sees that the religion of her grandfather Islam is more important than her father, says, Baba, go. Baba, Bismillah, go and submit to the will of Allah. Bibi Sakina knows, or if she didn't know, you know what happened afterwards. That permission came with Shamir Ghariba and the hands of men and the cheeks of a 6-year-old daughter of Hussein. The price was paid by the earrings snatched off from the ears of Bibi Sakina. The price was paid by her looking at the uncle that she had asked for water, a severed head on a spear, and she kept looking at that head from Karbala to Kufa. The price was paid in the prison of Sham. Try to imagine a dark place, a cold place, a place where there are 50 people and the place is for 20. But this little daughter of Imam Hussein, who was used to sleep on the chest of her father, now is sleeping on the cold, hard floor of a prison. How much of a difference is there? Who gets up smiling with tears in her eyes, running? I saw Baba, I saw my father, and he said that my daughter, very soon you're going to come to see me. The price was paid by a brother who dug a small grave with his own hands. Islam comes with great prices. My brothers and sisters, do not take Islam lightly. Do not sell it. Do not sell it for little things of this world. Do not sell it with your own emotions. Do not sell this. It has come to you with a great price. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be able to submit to His will and purely His will. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us decide for Him to be our master. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our hearts with love, compassion for all of humanity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy the plans of all the enemies of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to help the cause of the 12th Imam and see the government of justice and peace in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow a long life to our Maraji and let the guidance of their light to reach us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite all of Muslim Ummah under the banner, under the leadership of Imam Khamenei. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the revolution of Iran and have it connect to the revolution of the 12th Imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make his coming as soon as possible. Mu'atim Hussain.
Inshallah, after the program, we will have Q&A session, inshallah. So please join us for that. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain.